crazy day in the NFL today. 2 major trades, and honestly, a crazy signing or two as well. We're going to get into it today. Emergency episode, I guess I'm going to call it. We were going to do an offseason grading video. I'm going to grade every offseason for every NFL team going by division. We are going to do the AFC North this week, but that is going to have to pause for later this week because of the day that today was. We saw 2 blockbuster, what the heck, trades in the NFL today. Let's just get right into it. One of them being, we see Myles Garrett get traded to the LA Rams. All offseason, the topic of conversation has been the LA Rams going all in this season. And then it took a little bit of a hit when the draft happened, and they draft their quarterback of the future, Ty Simpson, because every move they made was towards this year, not the future. Well, they go make a future move by drafting Ty Simpson, and apparently, from what I was reading, that is what gave them the confidence to go out there and trade for Myles Garrett. They say that they got their quarterback of the future, which is why they're willing to trade the future first and go get Myles Garrett. You look at it like that, drafting Ty Simpson sounds like a win. However, I kind of feel like that's a cop-out that the Rams are using. That's just my opinion, though. Do they actually believe Ty Simpson is a franchise quarterback already? I get you have to have a lot of faith in him in order to draft him. Round 1, pick 13, when a lot of guys were saying he was a round 2 prospect. But regardless, I think that might just be covering themselves up. See, look, this pick we made, it was good. See, because now we got this guy, we got Myles Garrett. Again, whatever. I do think that's a cover-up, but it doesn't matter because they have Myles Garrett now. They trade away Jared Verse, a first-round, second-round, and third-rounder. I don't know the years of these picks. I just know the first-rounder is next year in the absolutely insane loaded draft class that everybody has been talking about. But it doesn't matter when you win the Super Bowl, and that's exactly what the LA Rams are trying to do with this trade. I think it clearly makes them the best team in the entire NFL, and it's not that close. Their question's going to be health. Matthew Stafford obviously is the oldest starting quarterback in the league right now, and I take that back. Aaron Rodgers is back, so second oldest starting quarterback in the league right now, and he has health issues. He has had health issues as of late. They haven't come up as recently. And you could look at that as 2 ways, that he's due and he's bound to happen this year, or that he has overcome it and that he isn't going to get hurt this year. And that's not really for me to decide. We're just going to have to wait and see. Puka Nacua himself is not the healthiest guy ever. He dealt with a lot of injuries in college, and obviously he missed half of his second year due to injuries. Devontae Adams is another year older, and he has dealt with some health issues as of late. So a lot of their guys are injury prone, and that is, I think, going to dictate the season for them because on paper, they are by far and away the best team in the entire NFL. Like I said, it's really not that close. So as far as the trade itself goes, I actually think, obviously, this is going to be a win for the Rams because they get Myles Garrett, the best defensive player in football, but I also think they got him at a discount. I think they should have got or had to have traded 3 first-round picks or 2 in a really good player. Obviously, Jared Verse is a really good player, so I would have expected at least 1 more first-round pick to be involved in this trade. They get away with just Jared and the 1, of course, a 2 and a 3 as well, but I was expecting, let's say Jared, two 1s, and then maybe, I don't know, like a 4th and a 5th or something along those lines. You could look at it that way, like they didn't get enough, or you look at it in the sense that Cleveland thinks that Jared Verse is worth the 2 first-round picks, so they got 2 in a way. I don't think that's accurate. I actually worry about Jared Verse. He is, I believe, top 10, top 5, somewhere in that range in pressure rate in the NFL. The issue is it doesn't lead to much sacks with him. The reason being is he's a guy that his main move is a bull rush. And when you're doing a bull rush, you can make that pocket messy, which is good, of course. It causes pressure. But it's also really hard to disengage and then go get the sack afterwards. So we'll have to see if Cleveland can do something to get that pressure to sack ratio up higher. I worry the opposite's going to happen. I worry he's going to get less pressure, and now he's just going to become I don't want to say an irrelevant player, but just not what he was with LA. And then Cleveland really looks like they messed up here. But if they can at least keep the pressure rate plus the first round, maybe it's an okay trade. But I'm not certain that's going to happen. Of course, there is also the possibility of him advancing, taking the next step forward, and maybe just becoming one of the next premier pass rushers in the NFL. He won't be no Myles Garrett, but he doesn't have to be. To make this trade worthwhile, if he can just become one of the top, I don't know if he even has to be top 5, top 6, 7. I don't know if he'd go to 8, top 6. Oh dang it, whatever. Top 6 edge rusher. It really messed me up. Top 6 edge rusher in the league. Then I think that if they can hit on at least 2 of these 3 picks that they got with it, then it's a valid trade. Especially if Myles Garrett was trying to get out, which at one point was reported. Then he got that new contract, and I hadn't seen much since then, but clearly there had to still be something there, because there's no way they just trade him for fun. Verse obviously is younger and fits their timeline better, so maybe that has something to do with it. I feel like when I'm trying to make this many different rationalizations onto why this trade happened, it probably wasn't a good trade for you. So that's just where we're at with Cleveland. If I had to grade these trades, I mean, obviously LA, you're a Super Bowl contender. You add Myles Garrett, A+. I really don't even care if you gave up the 3 picks that I was saying that I thought they should have had to. You could have gave up more, not more first, but three firsts and a second or something crazy like that. I would have been okay with it, because you're going to make a push this year. And I think that's a big problem that a lot of teams have, is not making the move they need to make, not putting the chips in the middle of the table when they should. The reason for it is because GMs are scared of getting fired. If they do that and it doesn't work out, they got like 1 more year or else they're getting fired. But you have this Rams organization that have been together, have won Super Bowls together. I don't think anybody's getting fired if this move specifically doesn't work out. With that said, I do think it gives them a 2-year window to win a Super Bowl. I think Stafford probably plays for 2 years, and therefore you have like a 2-year window. You'll have this year with the current core, obviously, that they have now. Next year probably looks a little different. Devontae Adams is probably gone if they don't get it done this year. Devontae Adams is probably gone. There's some slight changes there, but I think you still have majority have your core. After that, I think Stafford's gone, and now everything's different. Everything changes. You're going in with Ty Simpson. The team's good enough for them to still win if he can just be like a game manager, but you're probably not winning Super Bowls, although you've seen it before. I mean, Sam Darnold did it last year with the Seattle Seahawks. You watch those games, he was a game manager, and he did exactly what he had to do. That's not a diss. He did exactly what he had to do to win. Ty Simpson, I guess, could do something like that with the Rams. But as far as peak Super Bowl favorites go, they have about a 2-year window, and you just got to pray that health and injuries don't plague this team. Going on to the other trade that happened, though, we saw A.J. Brown finally get traded to the New England Patriots. It was for a 2028 first-round pick and a 2027 fifth, I believe. I should have double-checked that before getting on. That's fine. I'm pretty sure I'm right. Anyway, we see A.J. Brown headed over to the New England Patriots. I purposely wait, and you'll see when I upload my off-season videos, I purposely on my schedule put the AFC East and the NFC East. They're both the East. That's crazy. Anyway, I purposely put those divisions later in the schedule, giving this trade more time to happen, because the way this offseason has happened for New England, this trade had to happen. Otherwise, what were they doing? They let Stephon Diggs go. They let him walk, and they cut him, actually. They didn't just let him walk. They straight up cut him, and this receiving core was looking really, really bad. And so they needed a big-time move to happen. We all thought this trade was going to happen, so I was trying to give it time to happen. That way, I'm not grading an incomplete offseason. Thankfully, it does happen for the New England Patriots, at least. Thankfully, it does happen. Now, this receiving unit, wow, it looked horrible earlier. Now you put a number 1 and alpha in front of it. Now you have a solid receiving core behind A.J. Brown. Makes the world of difference. So, from New England's perspective, they give up, like I said, a 2028 first and then a fifth in 2027. I mean, that's no biggie for a guy like A.J. Brown, who is going to come in and just be that guy for Drake May. He's going to be the best receiver that Drake May has ever played with. And that's credit to Stephon. I don't want to trash on Stephon. He did good last year. I think he did really good for that wide receiver room and did really good being a safety blanket option for Drake May. But now you get A.J. Brown, who is younger. We think he's healthy. There were some topics of conversation last year about not being healthy. We think he's healthy, and as long as he is, he's more explosive, and it's just a true number one. At this point, Stephon's not, and A.J. Brown absolutely, assuming health, absolutely is, and giving Drake May, a guy like Drake May who has all the potential in the world, some people are already saying a top 5 quarterback in the league, giving him a number 1 receiver will be huge for this team. A team that just went to the Super Bowl last season, and a lot of people are predicting their fall off already. I actually don't even know what I'd think of this team yet. I haven't really done any projections into next year for real football. I done it for fantasy. If you're into fantasy football, I have a fantasy page, Zealous Fantasy. Check it out. And so statistically, I have looked into next season. But as far as teams go and projections, I really haven't put too much thought into it yet. That's something I will be doing throughout the next couple of months. So subscribe if you want to see stuff like that. Like I said, I'm going to be doing off-season grades, and then I'll be doing projections and everything else. I'm going all in this year, I promise. Anyway, so I haven't thought too much of it, but I don't think I'm going to be somebody who is saying New England is going to drop out of the playoffs. I started all that just to say, and I kind of rambled, I'm sorry, but I started all that just to say that I think people will probably pull back off those takes. This move probably makes people say they will at least be a wild card. Maybe Buffalo actually wins the division this year and New England's a wild card this year. We'll have to see not only how it plays out, but public perception of this trade. And as far as Philly goes, I wanted to talk about Philly too. Devontae Smith, I think, I almost talked about fantasy, and so I got to remember this is not the fantasy page. I think they are still okay. Obviously, this trade kind of needed to happen. It seems as if the relationship between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts was kind of at a point where I don't know if it was toxic in the sense of they hated each other's guts, but I don't think it was repairable at this point. You see that, I don't remember which one did this, but one of them is the godfather to the other's kids, and then AJ was getting married and Jalen Hurts ain't even there. So clearly something is wrong with that relationship outside of football. And so it was probably at a point where they could not fix whatever this issue was. So from that perspective, you kind of had to move on. Between the field stuff and off the field stuff, you had to move on. And I think Philly did it as great as you possibly could. I mean, Howie Roseman, right? So you trade him away. You still, even with the league, the entire league knowing the problems that consist in your franchise, in your organization, in your locker room with these two guys, you're still able to pull off getting a 1st and 5th round pick for A.J. Brown. I mean, that in itself is Philly. Not in the trade, just a W in general for Philly. But then you also get Mekhi Lemon. So you have Devontae Smith, Mekhi Lemon. You added guys like Hollywood Brown to this receiving room. They added more, I'm not remembering off the top of my head. So you have a really good receiving room for this team. I think Philly, if you're going to lose a guy like A.J. Brown, Philly probably handled it as well as you possibly could. So with that said, if we're talking about who won this trade, we're giving out grades. I mean, honestly, I'd probably give A's all around. A.J. Brown is going to come in, help this receiving unit out in New England, help Drake May out in New England, and give them an even better, I'm going to say, offense than they had last year. Statistically, it might not be better because of the level of teams they were playing last year, the schedule that they had that was so easy last year. They won't have that this year. But I think the team itself will be better, even if through the numbers it doesn't show it. And then for Philly, like I said, if you're going to lose a guy like A.J. Brown, I don't know a better way it could have happened than this. Getting a first and a fifth, loading up the receiving room. I think both teams handled this perfectly. Obviously, Philly should get extra credit. I'd say probably an A+ for them, just because, I don't know many, like I just said with Myles Garrett in that trade. You don't lose the star player and win the trade. That doesn't exist. So for them to lose the star player and for me to sit here and be like, you know what? Like, they did pretty good. Like, they handled that well. Like, that's uncommon. And when that happens, that means they did a really good job, not only in this trade specifically, but leading up to this trade. So 2 massive trades that I think almost all parties won except Cleveland, but Cleveland was never going. You're trading with the best defensive player of the league. Cleveland was never going to win this trade. Other news I wanted to talk about that happened today. Other stuff happened, like Russell Wilson became a CBS analyst, so that's kind of cool. I guess he's done with football. But also, Odell Beckham Jr. is a New York Giant. I mean, what year are we in? Just wanted to talk about it for vibes, because obviously, as far as the football goes, I don't think he's adding much to this team. The Giants did need somebody, I do think. They had okay 2 and 3 in Mooney and Slayton. But, man, I am worried for Malik Neighbors. I don't know if you've seen clips of Malik Neighbors recently. That dude looks like he can barely use his leg, and he is a receiver that relies on explosiveness. So I'm honestly starting to get to a point where I'm kind of terrified for the dude unless I start seeing clips of him running and running good in the near future. So in that sense, if you are going to miss some time with Malik Neighbors, I think he might even start on the PUP list. But I want to be clear. I want to be clear. I haven't seen anybody say he was going to. I'm just seeing clips of the dude living, and I see him like walking around as recent as I believe was the last week. And I was like, ugh, like, we're in June. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like you should be further along. I think it's also well documented that the surgery had to keep getting pushed back because the swelling wasn't going down, and they had to go back in there, I think once or twice even, to fix some things up, clean some things up. The team seems positive and optimistic when they talk about it, but again, off vibes and looks, it just doesn't look like a good situation. So in that sense, you kind of needed Odell. You needed somebody to come in there. Maybe Stephon Diggs would have been a better option. But for vibes reasons, like I said, I'm fine with Odell. I think it's a fun story, and it'll be cool to watch. Jalen Hyatt better watch out. He's probably on the chopping block just for his number. So other than that, I think that's all the major news that happened today. Absolutely insane day in the NFL. This will probably be posted tomorrow. All this happened on June 1st, which is today. I'll probably post this on June 2nd, but I might squeeze it out last second. We'll have to see. Regardless, sometime this week, you will be getting AFC North off-season grades, so make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, whatever. I always say just do the YouTube things because I don't really know. I also feel like it's a little, I don't know. I feel like I don't. It's begging almost, and maybe it is, and maybe I should. Maybe that's the whole point, but I don't like saying it. So I just say do the YouTube things and watch out for that video to come out later this week.